Hello YouTubers, and finally, here it is. This is the new series, Daleks Set 1, although it's actually just called History of the Daleks 16/17, which, yeah, the numbering scheme for these History of the Daleks sets, particularly, you know, the ones that come out next year, it's gonna start making it pretty bloody confusing. But regardless, let's get into that, and ignore this Dalek. This is a sound effects one that was previously released, but we'll get on to him in a minute when I go on to comparisons. But yeah, here it is. So, the main thing about this set, at least from a UK perspective, is this is the first time we have ever got a Dalek set in the new series, in the, revised sculpt for the new series. So, yeah, and I can honestly say this is probably, you know, worth it for most people just alone, and also it has a slight, I believe, advantage over the US release, because for those who don't know, Dalek Sec here in the revised sculpt was originally released, I think it was back in 2016, in an American wave, where basically it was released singularly, but also in a re-release of the Army of Ghosts set. For some reason, we didn't get that over here. For some reason, we did get, however, some of the shittier figures from that wave. Basically, we got the 11th Doctor in Stetson from that wave, Rose Tyler and K9 from that wave. I mean, if you want the figures and that, fair enough, but, you know, they weren't hard to find, yet we didn't get this bloody one for whatever reason. But yeah, so we'll start with this one. So there isn't a huge much amount to say about him. Thankfully, out of all the ones I've seen in stores, you know, in person and people posting online, thankfully the skirt is a matte black, because there was someone who received an early sample copy and theirs was completely glossy. So thankfully the skirts and also the fender are matte black. The only thing I'll say about the fender, unfortunately, is that the rivets on the fender have not been painted. However, thankfully the ones round the MIG section here have been painted and that, so yeah, I can live with them not being painted. The fact that the sculpt, you know, is there, where if we take a look at the sound effects one, they were mysteriously absent on that, even though they were on previous releases. So yeah, but thankfully it's still part of the sculpt, so I'm not too fussed on that. And yeah, and he also has the correct ID and that as well on there. So yeah, but here's the thing that makes him a slight advantage over that US one. One is, he does seem to be a lot more glossier, than any other Dalek Sec release. He might even be a little bit too glossy. I'm not quite sure. But the main thing is that finally we have, you know, a more standard Dalek release where basically the dome lights have been painted. Yeah, the silver sections of the dome lights here, which I'm struggling to see in the viewfinder because my light is reflecting off it. There we go. So yeah, the dome lights here have been painted, which previously I believe had only been on the Supreme Dalek and possibly the Ironside. The uncovered dome light variant, obviously, I think. But yeah, both Daleks in that new series, Daleks in this set, both have that. I can't remember whether that first wave of B&M Daleks had it or not, I don't know. But yeah, Dalek set, no real complaints on that about this. I'm really happy with this. And Alderaan must really secretly love me because, hey, he made a figure of me. Yep, the jokes and that beside. But yeah, interesting to note as well is that this sucker goes silver all the way up until the very, very cup at the end there. Whereas I believe the US release still had the bit of black and that at the end, but yeah, I'm not too sure about that. So yeah, but this Dalek, nothing really much to say about it. Is a fantastic, you know, I really do like the Daleks. I do like the sort of matte and the glossy black and that. It does look really nice. So yeah, that's all nice, well and good. Oh, you know, Alderaan had a really easy job to do here. He did have a really easy job. So, here's the sound effects Dalek, which these two Daleks are meant to be both based on the Metaltron Dalek from Dalek. Now, with the Metaltron, he was a little bit too light. He was slightly too light, but, you know, he was close enough to it. He should be much more like of a gold colour. But the main thing was, he was missing the gold band round here, which is the only new series Daleks actually really have that gold band and that round there. But, yeah, other than that, you know, that's basically what he had to do. And also, you know, have the dome lights and that painted and that. And then, there you go, call it a day. Nice, simple little fix. And that, which, by the way, the prototype version of this did actually have the gold band actually painted correctly. But no, this is completely off. The thing is, I was trying to remember what it reminded me of, and then I remembered. This is basically the colour scheme of the Rusty single release. Not the electronic moving one, but the singular release. Because, like, people were saying, oh, it's like the Crucible Dalek, the Toys R Us variant. Which I've actually got one. Yeah. Again, you can see it's thicker dust. But, yeah, if we just compare the two, you can see that while it does have sort of the oilness to it, which, yeah... Those hemispheres do seem a little bit lower down, I've just noticed, on this one compared to that one. I don't know, am I going mad? No, I'm not. They are lower down. I don't know if that's... Cause it's the same on the sound effects release, but yeah, I don't know if they just seem a little bit lower down. Let's get a measuring tape, because I've got one to hand. So let's measure between the hemisphere and the mix section on this one, which is... Let's see. 0.5 centimetre, we'll say. And on this one... Okay, it's still 0.5 centimetre. It's just weird, it looks... The gap just looks bigger, I don't know what it is. Mind, this one is thicker dust and that as well. I mean, look at the fender. But yeah, you can see this one is much more similar to basically this one than it is that one. So yeah, it didn't really look much like that one, but it doesn't look like a standard dyes bronze one either. So yeah, it's just kind of stuck in a weird place. The thing is, I wouldn't mind it too much, apart from, for some bizarre reason, the bit round the eye stalk here, where the joint for the eye section here, which I can't focus on. Let's see, I'm going to have to get that light out the way to just try and focus on it. Come on. There we go. So you can just about see in there that the eye itself underneath there is actually just bronze, or more of a gold bronze, and the same is true of the ball joints and that themselves. So yeah, the question is, why is this the case? It didn't need to be. Why is this the case with this Dalek? I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. Because on the Dalek sec, they're black. And the thing is, they're not painted. This is just what the raw plastic is. They're unpainted, just like that. So why mould these in a bronze colour like this, when they should just be, the ball joints here and for the eye pivot there, should all just be moulded in black. It would have actually saved money and time to just have them all moulded in black, which they should be, because again, just to show you on here, they're black, and down there it's black, and it's been the case on every other basically bronze Dalek release from the very start, but on this one, no. So yeah, that really irks me. That really irks me, and it's less obvious with the eye, but it's much more obvious with the ball joints and that here. So yeah, why this was the case, I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, the NSD design also has the problem with The ball joints are pretty recessed quite a bit, which isn't the case on the iron side, but that's because it uses a different front section. Now, the only problem with it is that the plunger can't really point up, neither can the gun. They can point down and that both okay, but not upwards, unfortunately. So, yeah. Also, for some reason on the eye on these, seem to be pointing slightly up. And also, the end section of the eye is just silver as well. And I've just noticed that on the Dalek Sec, the end of the eye bit there, I've just noticed is silver. Whereas it actually should be black, like on here. As you can see, the little end bit of the eye there should actually be black. Yeah, I've only just noticed that this second when looking at them side on. So yeah, the Dalek Sec does have other issue in that with him. But at least that I can resolve that pretty easily. The ball joints on these, though, not so much, because the NSDs are a bloody nightmare to try and take apart. And trying to work around that is even more, if not just as difficult. So, yeah, problem there. Now, if we take a quick look at the packaging, you can see it's the same packaging style motif and that we previously had with the previous sets. However, I will say, this time around, thankfully, this is made of much thicker, sturdier cardboard. Like, literally the first time I picked it up, I immediately noticed how much thicker and sturdier the cardboard is. Obviously, that is not going to come across on camera, but if I just show you, if I try and just wobble this section here, it doesn't move very much. Whereas if I grab one of the old sets, I don't know if this is coming across very well, but just see how much easier, that moves and wobbles about there. Whereas on here, if I do the exact same, wobble thing, it's actually moving the whole box around before it actually wobbles. So that's a good sign. It's actually made of sturdier cardboard, which is good, because the cardboard was just getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So yeah, if we take a look at the back, we've got a load of information, which does anyone ever read, because most of it is inaccurate anyway. But it's also weird that we've got this and a Dalek Sec released at the same time, because he could have done two versions of the Metaltron, paint one up to look more damaged. As ever, when that, if you want to be able to, to display them back in the box and that like this, then you're going to have to cut along the seam and that at the bottom, and be very delicate and that when you do so, because these Daleks, the NSDs, really do fill the box. So yeah, just be careful with a knife and that, and yes, use a knife, don't use scissors, because they're a bit too big and awkward for this. So overall, what do I think of this set? Well, the Dalek Sec may have a couple of very minor issues, but overall I am very happy with him. I'm very happy to, finally have this figure, one, officially released in the UK, and two, in my collection here. The Bronx Dalek, I still do like it. I still do like it overall, and also the fender is a odd colour in that as well, I should mention. It's a bit of a weird colour. It's, yeah, like previously it was black, and which was not quite right, but this is more a metallic type look, which is not really accurate either. To be honest, I would have rather it was just black. At least it isn't green, I'll give it that. But yeah, the thing is, I'd be able to forgive it a bit more if those bloody ball joints were black, but they're not. So yeah, I still do recommend this set, obviously for the Dalek Sec alone. And this Dalek, well, he has the wrong ID in that as well, which again is a minor issue. But to be honest, he doesn't look really anything like that Dalek anyway. So yeah, I still do recommend it and that, and it is still a nice enough Dalek. I still do like the look of it. So yeah, make of that as you will, but that's it for this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.